shares here on opening fire. Nifty is about 8741, 13-14 points lower. It's been pretty dull and lackluster since the morning. Not really very much happening. A little bit up, a little bit down, and sort of that's been the case from the word go. 28,930 is where the Sensex is trading, at about 45 odd points lower. Debasish Mishra, Senior Director, Deloitte India, somebody who has a firm handle on the metals mining, the power sector, and of course, has been advising companies on the coal auctions which got concluded as well, at least phase one which got concluded recently. What is life after the auctions going to look like now? That's essentially what we're going to discuss with Debasish. Thanks very much for coming in. First up, I think, the common refrain which everybody sort of keeps bringing up is that this entire bidding, especially in the power segment, was completely unrealistic. It went through the roof. I had a former power secretary who said it defied logic. Those were his words. How would you describe it?
Yeah, they were definitely more aggressive than anybody expected. But then these are operating mines where production can seamlessly start. And there are these projects which are stuck without coal. So maybe, the level of desperation in the downstream industry where thousands of crores of capital is stuck was probably driving the decision. All these companies have huge capacity which is already ready to go, but because of they do not have a PPA and hence they do not have fuel from Coal India, that capacity is stuck and all of them are paying huge amount of interest IDC. So maybe in their calculation this is still something which they can manage. But the challenge is, as you mentioned, the ex-power secretary told you, I think government is very clear that none of these PPAs will have variable costs going upwards because of the bid. And in fact, in the most of the cases, there is negative bid. So, if variable cost is, nothing is passed through in the variable cost, how much adjustment they can do through fixed cost and how much they can do through that 15% merchant sale. That's, everybody has a doubt on that. So that's why, at least in the power segment, everybody is finding it little unrealistic.
So non-power, you're saying it can still be justified, but for power, in most cases, it's unrealistic. Yeah,
non-power, there are several other factors because as we have seen in the recent trend, government is increasingly focused on Coal India supplying more long-term fuel for the power sector because that's where the consumers are affected. In fact, they have also mentioned that going forward, even linkages will be auctioned. So in the non-power segment, people are more benchmarking it with the international coal prices. So they have accepted the fact that somewhere the arbitrage that exists between the international coal prices and the domestic linkage prices, at least for the non-power segment, will go away going forward. So these are guys who have taken certain views on how international coal prices will move, how rupee dollar will move, and that's how they have bid in the non-power segment. So,
in the non-power segment, it seems the winners have been mostly aluminum players, Hindalco, Sterlite. Sponge players broadly have lost out. Would you agree?
Yeah, these are the initial days. These are 18 blocks, out of which 6 blocks were for power, and the bigger blocks were kept in the power segment. And if you look at non-power, they were really, other than 3-4 blocks, they were really not more than 1 million ton. So, for huge steel guys and sponge iron guys, I don't think this was adequate in one sense. Plus, I think given the nature of the industry now, steel is facing overcapacity and their ability after, so underutilization of capacity and huge debt servicing. So their ability to go aggressive and get some of these blocks was limited at this stage. It was predominantly even cement and aluminium were the aggressive bidders in this round. So.
In the power segment now, what is going to... Let's just break it up, right? Power... I think most of the blocks in the power segment in companies with bid have untied, the capacity is not tied up, right, with power purchase agreements. They have to sign PPAs.
So out of the 6 winners, couple of them have capacity. The 2 West Bengal companies have capacity which is tied up. But the others, other 4, they're yet to have their capacity tied up. So that would reflect in when the next next bid comes, they would have to reflect that in the bid and win that bid within 18 months. So,
Yeah. And this includes JSPL as well, right?
Yes.
The four.
Yes.
So two West Bengal, one is CESC, the other is a state company.
State company, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's a story there as well, which you were telling me.
They went very aggressive and got that Trans Damodar block.
No, so for the four companies which have got to sign the power purchase agreements, what will happen now? I think JSPL is okay, as you were saying.
Yeah, JSPL, the bid has come at a good price, and they also have a unit which is, the capital cost is almost recovered, and they do not have much debt on that book in that place. So others, they have to recover their capital cost and in the fixed cost, and some amount of this, what is they lost in this, has to be also recovered in some sense. Otherwise, they will be out of pocket. So.
No, so this PPAs which will be signed, what will be the model which will?
So right now, if you look at the new case one bid mechanism, you have to bid for the first year tariff alone.
Okay.
And that gets escalated for the entire life of the PPA, which is 25 years.
Okay.
So these guys have to, put one fixed cost for the first year, and because they have said that the variable cost,
there's no cost of mining,
cost of mining. I think there are certain cess and taxes that can be a pass-through, but otherwise the coal cost is zero for them. So that has to be, that has to reflect in the bid, and they have to be competitive in a competitive bid scenario in case one. So, so that has to, whenever the next case one comes, this has to reflect in their bid.
What does this? In terms of rupees per unit, broadly, I mean, these four companies that we're talking about, actually exclude JSPL, the other three that we've got, what kind of tariffs are we talking about, according to you?
So,
compared to, say, the earlier PPAs?
See, the earlier PPA and current PPA, I mean, there is a bit of, difference, because earlier numbers which were quoted were year-on-year number for 25 years, and the number that was coming out, like 5 rupees in Rajasthan, 5.5 rupees in UP, those PPAs those numbers were levelized numbers. Whereas, the current, whatever the new case one mechanism which is just now introduced, you have to just quote the first year number. So our expectation is that in the first year, people would quote around 3.5 rupees in that range. So, and these companies will have to somehow adjust the fixed cost, variable cost part of it. We are yet to understand, how the mechanism will work out for these companies, because, if they quote higher number in fixed and overall they are competitive, how that will be seen vis-a-vis somebody who is quoting a fixed cost which is truly reflective of their fixed cost, and a variable cost which is Coal India variable cost, taking into account the linkage coal kind of a thing. So once the
but the variable cost is zero, right? There's no variable cost.
No, for these guys. But for the guys who have owned the mines, but they will also have to compete with others when they're competing for a case one bid.
Okay.
I mean, that's open for everybody. So I'm saying that, take for example, one of these four guys, and take somebody who has got a linkage from Coal India. He has a proper variable cost, and he is also at present going to get 65% of the linkage quantity. The rest has to be imported. So
somebody from the Coal India, somebody who's got a linkage from Coal India, and they are competing for a purchase to supply coal, right? How would just construct the bid for us? How would it work?
So both of them will have to
explain to our viewers.
So both of them will have to quote the first year number. So for
and
the
what
first
will go
year,
into the first year number?
So first year number, let's say, is 3.5 rupees. And out of the 3.5 rupees, let's say, somebody has 60 paisa variable and 2 rupee 90 paisa of fixed cost. Okay, and those numbers will be escalated as per a predetermined formula of the CRC.
And it will be decided from the first year for the rest of the
thing.
The rest of the life of the PPA.
Life of the PPA. That's the way the current PPA is going to work out. The current case one bid is going to work out. So what I'm saying is, for somebody who has not got one of these mines, he's going to quote his fixed cost with his, whatever return he wants. And he's going to quote a variable cost which is based on the Coal India prices, and because...
So you said that could be, say, 60 paise and 2 rupee 90 paise. 60 paise variable and 2 rupee 90, say, for example, is the... the fixed cost, right? That's somebody. Okay. Now, what does the guy who's now won these coal mines do?
So to be overall competitive, what we feel is that they're going to quote a number which is overall it's going to be within that range to be getting a contract.
Okay.
But there are going to be questions that if they quote more in fixed cost, so whether a regulator is going to scrutinize that fixed cost or not, because then one is overall gaming the number by putting more in the fixed cost, but no other way there is possible, because then there will be out of pocket and making huge losses in these PPAs. So unless there is some of this mining cost is adjusted in the fixed cost in some manner, and there is no other arithmetic which is going to work out in these kind of cases. So.
Okay. All right. So, but wasn't there some comments, I don't know, some government officials saying that they're going to cap the fixed cost at some point? They're not going to allow all of it to be loaded onto the fixed side.
There is no current mechanism. PPAs are possible through Section 62, which is a regulator scrutinizing the cost and fixing the tariff. Or, for last 8 years, it has been through a competitive bid. So if a tariff is discovered through a competitive bid, I don't see how anybody is going to cap it in any case. So, so that's unclear. Even I don't think when this mechanism was devised, I don't think there is clarity on it, whether central government will give some direction or state governments will refer these matters to the respective state regulatory commissions to fix the fixed cost, or I don't know how it's going to happen. So.
Are most of these PPAs expected to be, they won't be cost plus, or will they be? The new ones?
No, the new ones will not be cost plus, because since 2007, the Act has said that all the procurement by distribution companies will have to be through competitive bidding, tariff-based competitive bidding.
Okay, all right, so it can't be cost plus. Okay, so they find themselves in a tough spot. We'll see how this goes. Thanks very much, Debasish, for coming in. Great having you with us, and thanks for explaining the entire thing. Let's take a quick break here. Mr. Arun Jaitley speaking in the Rajya Sabha on the land acquisition bill, the ordinance actually. Let's listen in.
Yes. अभी नेता सदन ने बात कही, संविधान का ज्ञान अच्छा रखते हैं, और इस तरफ के लोग भी संविधान को रखते हैं। मुझे एक बात याद करानी होगी। देश के पहले प्रधानमंत्री का उल्लेख किया गया, पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू का। वो 17 साल रहे थे और उस समय